every show. It's Arthi, your AI guide on the mic. Turn it up, lock in, ride the spike. AI radio, let's light up the night. You're tuned into the future, feel that flow. Welcome to the AI radio show. Arthi's in the house, let the circuits ignite. Bringing brain power, fire and insight. She breaks down trends with a killer spark. Turns tech talk bright when it's sounding dark. Fast, fierce, fearless, ready to go. Dropping knowledge bombs on every show. It's Arthi, your AI guide on the mic. Turn it up, lock in, ride the spike. AI radio, let's light up the night. You're tuned into the future, feel that flow. Welcome to the AI radio show. Arthi's in the house, let the circuits ignite. Bringing brain power, fire and insight. She breaks down trends with a killer spark. Turns tech talk bright when it's sounding dark. Fast, fierce, fearless, ready to go. Dropping knowledge bombs on every show. It's Arthi, your AI guide on the mic. Turn it up, lock in, ride the spike. AI radio, let's light up the night. You're tuned into the future, feel that flow. Welcome to the AI radio show. Arthi's in the house, let the circuits ignite. Bringing brain power, fire and insight. She breaks down trends with a killer spark. Turns tech talk bright when it's sounding dark. Fast, fierce, fearless, ready to go. Dropping knowledge bombs on every show. It's Arthi, your AI guide on the mic. Turn it up, lock in, ride the spike. AI radio, let's light up the night. You're tuned into the future, feel that flow. Welcome to the AI radio show. Arthi's in the house, let the circuits ignite. Bringing brain power, fire and insight. She breaks down trends with a killer spark. Turns tech talk bright.
Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of the AI Radio Show. I know this is a quite unusual because every day, every Sunday at around 9 p.m., we go live for Ask Me Anything. So where I answer all of your questions with respect to AI. But today we are doing something special. This is kind of a special episode which has never been done before. So if you're joining me for like many episodes before, if you've listened to any one of these AI Radio Show, you know why we are here today, especially if you have been part of the Friday AI Radio Show. But for those of you who are joining here new, welcome. Let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Arthi. I'm your AI coach, your AI guru, your AI educator, however you want to call me. I love building with AI. I love teaching AI to people. So, and this 2026, I've taken a goal of teaching around 1 million people AI, which is like 10 lakh people AI. So, thank you if you've joined me for the very first time in helping me reach that goal, because each one of you count. If you've learned something from any one of these AI Radio Show episodes or Ask Me Anything episodes or from any of my short videos and long form videos that I post, it helps me help you learn AI. Because let's face it, compared to 2024 or even like the earlier part of 2025, 2026, the landscape is changing. Everybody is expected to kind of implement something with AI. You need not even be a technical person, but you are expected to implement something with AI. So everybody is kind of like, the mandate is you at least need to kind of whiteboard and build something with AI. So that is what we are looking at in 2026. The landscape is like that. So if you have joined here for the first time, welcome. You're in for a ride because this is a continuation episode from Friday. Even if you've missed my the AI Radio Show episode from Friday, don't worry, I'll do a quick recap. And those of you who are continuing to join me on all of these different episodes, thank you so much. Your support really helps me in setting all of these up, and it motivates me in doing all of these episodes live. So without any further ado, let me quickly recap what we did on Friday and why the Ask Me Anything session that was supposed to happen today kind of got replaced with the extended version of Friday's episode. So what happened was, Friday, we did something very weird, which we have never done before. So usually there are so many types of kinds of people who have this urge to build something with AI, who kind of like get started with AI, but then they are like Phoebe from season one. So if you're like Phoebe who don't even have a plot, so that episode and this one is like for you, because I know that everybody wants to kind of like build something, because AI is so intriguing, and then the kind of results you get with AI, it's so astonishing and mind blowing, and it looks like magic, right? But how do you get started and how do you build it, especially if you are someone who's like from a non-tech background, who who hasn't kind of learned how to code, or who hasn't even launched a simple IDE to write a simple hello world program. Even you can build an end-to-end full stack application today with the help of AI. So yeah, so if you're someone who's like Phoebe from Friends season one without even a blog, I on Friday kind of taught you how to get that idea, how to research for that idea, how to validate that idea, and then today in this episode we're going to continue from there, and kind of I'm going to teach you how to build that idea and also market that idea. All right, so quick recap of what we saw last Friday. Let me quickly share my screen where I have everything like reopened. All right, so as you can see, the first step in getting any idea is to, if you do not, if you already have an idea to build upon, that's totally fine, because not everybody has that, and if you already do, that is fantastic. And I would urge you to like quickly build on that idea, validate that idea, and then kind of get started with it. But if you are someone who doesn't know where to start with, what problem to solve, like where to begin, for you, Reddit is kind of the amazing platform, because what we did on that day was basically go on to Reddit, and then on the homepage you can find something called as the ask here. So if you click on that, I think on that day this is the query that we searched. So the search results for that query is what you see here. So where we wanted to like focus on a specific industry, which is healthcare. So what is the biggest pain point in healthcare that's constantly there but has never been solved? All right, so it gave us a couple of pain points, which is like very frequently discussed in platforms like Reddit. So this is where you can get kind of the raw pain points, because this is where users kind of go to complain, to get ideas, to kind of communicate and interact with the actual peers, like those who also face the same problems. So this is a gold mine for you to find your ideas in your specific niche. All right, so the first step was to kind of identify your niche first. Niche in a sense like which domain you want to kind of build upon. So we took healthcare for instance, but yours could be in finance, or let's say in IT itself, or in education. So it could be anything, any industry that you are currently working in, or you're trying to get into. So pick your industry and then try to identify the pain point. So from this set of results, we did find a specific pain point, which is basically, oh yeah, what we did was we didn't even like pick from the different pain points that Reddit gave us. We did not pick it because we wanted everything to be done with the help of AI. This is for this entirely clueless person, right? Like Phoebe from season one, season one Friends, where she doesn't even have a plot. So this is for people like Phoebe. So we didn't know which particular plan to pick from. So what we did was like we copied everything and then prompted Gemini with this specific prompt. So this is all the ideas that we took from Reddit, and this is the initial prompt. So hey, I'm trying to solve a specific use case in healthcare. I have a couple. I want you to pick one, and that would solve universal problems and would immediately sell if I'm trying to monetize it from it. So this is a prompt that we gave, and what Gemini did was actually validate, do pros and cons for which specific pain point would be, really helpful for the users, as well as they get you monetized as soon as possible. So we did see that, and it gave us one specific winning tool, which is the ambient scribe. So this is basically, it's a mobile app, especially useful for doctors, because doctors would kind of need to write all of these post-op notes. So if it is a very big hospital, they'll have physician assistants kind of doing it for them. But then essentially this is kind of a biggest pain point. If you've ever like went to a hospital and then you received your post-op notes, not just post-op notes, post-visit notes. So this is something that the doctor has to kind of update. So this is a problem statement which Gemini kind of identified for us. So it also gave us a hook, like how we need to kind of pitch it if you're doing elevator pitch. So this is a mobile app that listens to the doctor-patient conversation with consent. And what kind of a magic this does, like what problem does it automatically solve? So it automatically filters the small talk and generates a professional structured medical note formatted for their specific electronic medical record, right? And then it also suggested the monetization. How do we have to monetize it? So it should be a SaaS based subscription model. So, and the target are private practices first, because you cannot pitch something to a multi-specialty hospital which has like so many chain of hospitals. So but then pitching and then kind of like trying to implement them in private practices is easier, because a they are like smaller hospitals with easy decision systems, and you usually kind of you can pitch directly to the head of the private practice. So that's way easier for you if you're just starting today. And it also kind of gave us a pro tip that pick mental health as our first niche, because that's where a lot of talking happens, right? Like you go for a 1 hour therapy session, and the psychiatrist would have to kind of write a detailed conversation summary, if you will. So this is somewhere where our tool can kind of help. And then what we did was we kind of asked Gemini itself to build an architecture for that for us, how this specific tool should look like, what all connectors should we do, on a high level, how this tool should look like. So this was the high level architecture that Gemini provided for us. So we have the year, which is the first tier, where the app kind of listens to the conversations between the doctor and the patient. And then we also have an inside that how the listening can happen is basically, first we'll have to build a mobile app, because it has to either be on a tablet or on the doctor's mobile, because very rarely we see kind of a laptop or some kind of a system in terms of when it comes to a psychiatrist. So we can build one mobile app, and then the edge processing, where initial noise cancellation and all those dead air removal needs to be processed. And then we can kind of do a real time streaming of audio chunks, rather than waiting for that entire conversation to end and then process and kind of give them the transcript and the summary. We can do it real time, so there are certain web sockets that are available as well. And the second one is the orchestration tier, which is the brain. So here we'll have to like build a system which distinguishes the doctor's and the patient's voice, because there are two people who are going to be talking, and even if you record the whole conversation, you still need to kind of differentiate it. So you need to find a model that does this. And you can use any speech to text model out there to kind of transcribe the whole conversation. And there is this LLM processing layer, where we have the extracted agent, which pulls out the symptoms, medications, and the patient's history if it's given access to. And there is a structuring agent which formats the data into some kind of a SOAP node, which is subjective objective assessment plan, which is basically what the doctors would kind of like structure the whole transcript into. And then there is the medical coding agent, which if any kind of a diagnosis is made, the doctor is supposed to kind of code it with a specific code, like ICD codes, we call it. There are a lot of medical coders with, very intensive training that they've gone through, and they would give this code for the diagnosis, which can also be automated with the help of the coding agent that we're going to build. Um, and then the final tier is basically the compliance and data tier. So this is where it needs to be encrypted, because this is a healthcare data that we're talking about. So, any information that's being recorded, it needs to stay in that specific system and within the hospital network. It should not leak anywhere, or it should not be hacked by someone else. So we would kind of use an encryption to encrypt it. And then there should also be PII, and PII is basically private. I oh, I forgot what PA means. Something private information identifier. So and PHI is like private health indicator, or private information indicator, I guess. So we have to scrub essentially their names or anything which can identify who the patient is. We need to kind of remove it from the conversation as well, because if this is a record which is going to be accessed by a lot of people in the hospital, according to HIPAA and other policies and other compliance, the anything which leads to the identification of who the patient is should not be let out. So you have to make sure that your tool which you're building is compliant with what in any kind of industry you're building it for. So whether it follows GDPR, whether it follows the HIPAA and SOX, and there are so many different policies. So make sure you research on which policies your specific tool kind of needs to abide by, and then build it. And we'll also need a vector database in order to store, if a doctor has a style of maintaining these records, we could kind of adapt it. So this is basically, a high-level architecture diagram in terms of a table where back-end, front-end, different AI models and such. These are all a little bit outdated. We will use, the latest models for here. And workflow has also been mentioned. So basically, it will be captured by the doctor, and as soon as the patient consents via audio, the speech to text engine kind of generates the transcript and then classifies it and sends it to any of their electronic medical record system that they have in place. So it also gives us a secret sauce for monetization, which is the EHR integration. So you need not ask the doctor to kind of copy paste it every time. Instead, as soon as the doctor kind of reviews the generated transcript, if they kind of press sync, it should directly sync with their database. So in that way, they need not go the extra step to kind of copy this and paste it. Sometimes it might be glitchy, sometimes it might not be entirely copied. So you have to avoid all of those things to make the work easier for the doctor, right? So on Friday, this is how far we came, and then this is the whole architecture, the idea, and everything that we're going to build. So essentially, to summarize, what we're going to build, we're going to build a listening audio model, which kind of listens to the patients and the doctor's conversation, and transcript, generates a transcript from the conversation, identifies which one is the patient's and which one is the doctor's, and there is this LLM layer which kind of summarizes it and posts this into their existing TP. If needed, the doctors can also kind of query from this record, mentioning that if this patient revisits, let's say 2 weeks from the first session, and they want to get a summary of what was discussed in the previous session, so they can ask the same model to kind of give the doctor a summary of the conversation from before, and if there were any left unopened or unanswered questions from the last episode, so that also can be done. So this is the tool that we're going to be building. All right, now we have the idea, we have the plan, and we also have the whole architecture. Now, in order to kind of stay up to date with the idea that we've just generated, so the next best step would be to kind of copy this, and then we're going to ask a second opinion from yet another tool. So yeah, so this is the architecture that we have. Let's open Claude. Okay, so not Claude Code, which is simply called Claude. Opening Claude. So here, what I'm gonna do is I'm just on a free plan. I don't have a paid Claude plan. If I did, I can use Opus 4.6, which is their latest model. But then I'm just gonna be going with Sonnet 4.5. So what I want is, I want Claude to kind of, they have a voice mode, but I cannot voice type, which is bad. Anyways, I'm gonna just type it. I want you to evaluate this idea and architecture for scribe. No, I'm not going to give it what it is, architecture, and let me know the latest tools that I can use. All right, and I'm going to paste everything that I copied from Gemini. So when I do that, what Claude kind of does here is basically it evaluates the idea that we've just shared, which is very honest, and so well. It is also telling us that it's a well thought out architecture, but we didn't think it through. It was done entirely by AI. Anyway, what we got right was the agentic workflows over simple transcription. This is the 2026 way. Edge processing for noise cancellation reduces latency and cloud costs, and a multi-stage pipeline. So diarization, STT, and LLM agents, proper separation of concerns, and FHIR API integration, nice, and vector DB for doctor preferences, that is personalization according to doctor's style. So these things, Gemini got it right. But what needs refinement here is basically WebSocket versus HTTP to streaming. So Gemini suggested WebSockets for us, but HTTP slash to server sent events. Basically, SSE, something called SSE or gRPC streams are often more resilient for medical grade systems. So this is an alternative which Claude is suggesting for us because it's easier to handle reconnections, I guess. And then zero latency feeling. So we need optimistic rendering. So the node being written as the conversation happens not after end visit. Okay, so this is something that needs to be refined. And HIPAA compliance on device. Be careful with on device processing. If the phone is jailbroken or rooted, you have a problem. Consider trusted and execution environments, something called TEE, or just do all processing server side with tight encryption. Okay, so these are the suggestions that it has given us, and it also has given us 2026 stack of like latest tools. So for the client tier, suggested Flutter or React Native, which is what Gemini had given us, but according to Claude, we have to go with React Native plus Expo. It apparently has better developer experience, or Tori Mobile, Rust based, I guess. It's based on Rust methodology. Since we are going to be kind of whiteboarding this, if you are non-technical, do not be kind of overwhelmed by hearing these terms. You're not going to write even a single line of code, so don't worry about it. And audio capture, Gemini had suggested native APIs, but what Claude is telling us to use Chris SDK or DeepGram Nova to medical. Okay, and then Edge ML, yeah, Claude. I mean, Gemini did suggest a lot of outdated models, but then we have OpenAI Whisper Turbo, which is state of the art, I guess, and then Assembly AI on premise, which is HIPAA compliant edge model. This is what we need. And for the WebSocket components, it's suggesting Socket IO version 5. Okay, so we are going to encode all of these things in our master prompt and then give it to our software that we are going to use to kind of build this whole tool. And for the orchestration tier, it's kind of asking us to use DeepGram, Whisper version 3 Turbo, AWS Transcribe Medical, and so on. And for diarization, high note audio 3.1, DeepGram diarization. All right, all right. So there are a lot of different tools which Claude has suggested. I'm not gonna go deep into it and then overwhelm you. So what we're gonna do next is basically we are gonna look at using as open source stuff that we can. So I'm gonna prompt Claude to give me kind of create a prompt, let's do a master prompt that would build this for me using no code tools. Also ensure that all of the toolkit mentioned are open source, or at least have a free tier. All right. So this is what I'm going to give the prompt to Claude. And now it's creating a master prompt for me. And I guess recently they've added something to Claude where you can click this and then it'll notify you as soon as it's done. So you need not like wait in the same window. You can go around, do carry on with your task, and then kind of come back here when once you get the notification. So that's there. Now Claude is working with, well, it is actually working with a lot of different options for us. So once we have the prompt ready, we'll be able to kind of understand everything. Nice. Awesome. So now, while Claude is kind of building this master prompt, what we'll do is let's decide on a name, shall we? So right now, Gemini has given us a name called Ambient AI Scribe. So, but that on a first look, it doesn't scream what we're trying to build, right? Like if you kind of let people know I'm building something called Ambient AI Scribe, I don't think a lot of people would understand what it is. And also, let's see what results come up for Ambient AI Scribe. So it's AI Scribe for doctors, which means that converts doctor consultations into accurate clinical notes. Uh, Okay, so we do have a tool which is already existing. In fact, like many tools which are already existing, and they are called Ambient Scribe as well. So we need to be more creative. So maybe Ambient AI Scribe is a common terminology used among doctors. So if there are any doctors listening to this, please let me know if that's true. So I guess we'll have to keep the name Ambient AI Scribe somehow, but then, you know, also think of a creative name that immediately signifies what this tool would do. So let's, keep thinking about it. And if you think of any idea, please do let me know in the chat. I'd be very, very happy to kind of pick the name that you chose. So all right, I'll keep a close watch in the chat as well. So if you know some kind of a name and you think that would be really suitable for this specific kind of a use case that we're building, please do let me know. Now, moving on to where were we? Moving on to the Claude output. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so it is done with the master prompt. This is the prompt that it has given us. The prompt itself is like huge. Okay, so master prompt, build an ambient AI medical scribe. Awesome. And it has given me a project overview and complete build instruction. So face by face, it has given me front end. It has also given me a timeline. Oh, that's nice. So you're going to use Flutterflow for free because it's a free tier and you can create unlimited projects but with limited features. For an MVP, it's good enough, I guess. And create new project. Sign up for Flutterflow, choose blank project, enable audio recording from Marketplace. Okay, so this is the detailed step, but I don't think it's vibe coder or no code platform friendly if you think about it, because I don't know, many of these. Okay, so there are multiple options as well. So it's asking us to use NA10 for the agentic orchestration, which if you think about me, I don't know, it in itself is a little bit complicated. So you have to build an innate and orchestration and then you have to call it over here. It becomes a little bit complicated. So no, we're not going to do that. All right. I don't think any of the steps given by Claude is usable for our simple application, right? We're just gonna get the audio from get the audio recording, and with the help of the transcript we are going to summarize it and post it into the database that the doctor has. So I don't think it needs to be this complicated. That too, as promised, this is for beginners who are like Phoebe and who doesn't even have a plan. So nope, we're going to skip whatever Claude has given us so far, and we're gonna go back to Gemini. And but what we're gonna do is basically huh. See, this is what building in public means. So I did not think of it like before joining here in this specific live session. So I'm thinking along with you, so you kind of get to know what goes on in the mind of people who actually build. Okay, so not everybody builds something really successful the first time that they try to build something. But there are a lot of back and forth. Some even like scrub the whole idea, move on to a different idea, and then build it. So that's what is happening right now because what we started off with was a simple tool that we want to build. But then what has happened right now is basically a very complicated multi tools that we need to kind of use, and then it has become a little bit complicated today. So what we're going to do is basically let me talk to Gemini now. Hey, I'm trying to build a very simple MVP where I get a conversation from the doctor patient, transcribe it, and make use of it to create a summary, which the doctor can kind of reuse and create query from it. Okay. So there is a lot of type over here. Oh no, you can stop. Simple MVP where I get a conversation, get the conversation from the doctor page. Oh, that's too messy. Transcribed and uh, what? and create a summary which the doctor can reuse and create from it. Create from it and query from it. So this is what I'm trying to build. And give me a simple plan that's easy to implement. So this would be the plan. So what Gemini would do to get an MVP running quickly, you want to avoid complex infrastructure. All right. So it's given me another tech stack where we have simple to build, streamlit front end. So this is going to be, your web interface. So in order to convert it into a mobile interface, you will have further options to do so. But then this is simple MVP, right? And audio capture would be a simple file upload or a record button in the browser, which is again doable, very easy. And speech to text, again, we can make use of OpenAI Whisper, or I'm just thinking out loud over here. Why don't we use Levin Labs? Because as I know, Levin Labs has something called speech to text. Awesome, nice. And what we can do is make use of Levin Labs API. Okay, let's get the API key when we kind of need it. But today, now let's go through Gemini's steps that it has given us and use a large language model. So we'll use some kind of an open source model, or we can use Gemini itself. It also has a free tier API structure and storage. We can either use Superbase or try to use MongoDB or pure running it locally and such and such. Awesome. So this seems doable, right? We have an application which will be built using Streamlit. We'll just capture the audio either by uploading it or recording it. Recording it, we will try. Speech to text, we are going to use OpenAI's API, I guess. Or for medical terminology recognition, I guess OpenAI Whisper is good. We'll see, what kind of pricing it offers. Okay. Run 15,000 plus models instantly. Oh, okay. So if you know to use this model, I think I can use this as this. Okay, cool. If Gemini is suggesting OpenAI Whisper, then I'll probably use it. Anyways, so this is the whole step. Don't ask for a summary. Use a structured prompt to ensure the output is medical grade. Okay, this is a system prompt that we're going to be giving to our specific tool that we're going to build. And then this is going to be the logic at the back end. So once the doctor uploads the audio or records it, It'll transcribe by sending the audio to OpenAI's Whisper API, and then structure would be send the raw transcript plus the system prompt that we have over here to the large language model, which we are going to use Gemini's API, and vectorize it for querying. So vectorizing is basically, let me visualize it for you. Oops. Vectorizing, basically, you have a group of words that are together, and the based on the meaning of the words, there's the large language model kind of like structures it together, like groups it together, so that when we query it back, we'll kind of we can kind of get those results back in the same meaning. So let me just show you how embeddings will work. So once you vectorize something, it kind of creates an embedding of the text that is like grouped together. So if you're aware of Game of Thrones, probably, or let's see what example is over here. Okay, so as you can see here in this image, there are a lot of different words, right? So you have decision, loss, recall, bias. Okay, so these are all terminologies with respect to data science. So you may not be able to completely understand it. What I'm trying to do is pick an example where you can understand stuff. This is again AI. One second. So embeddings, Game of Thrones. So this is an example which I usually kind of teach my students whenever I speak about embeddings. So if you've watched the Game of Thrones series, you know who is who, right? We have Arya Stark, Jon Snow, Rickon Stark, Aerys Targaryen, Daenerys Targaryen, so many Targaryens and so many Lannisters, right? So if you look at this, so this kind of embedding is basically based on woman to man, like you know who is like more closely related, and then kind of like evil to good. So who is relating a woman with a man with, and also like it goes from who's more evil to who's more good. So this is how your embeddings conceptually would look like. So if you see over here, Jon Snow, Ned Stark, Stannis Baratheon, so these are all kind of good people. They did not kill unwantedly. So if you know GGOT, you know that they are not very bad people. But if you take a look at Cersei Lannister, or I don't know, I forgot who title. Title, yeah. So these are all Marcella Baratheon. So they are all kind of little bit evil if you think about it. So they are all grouped together in at one side of these embedding matrix. So basically, when you vectorize a specific group of words and sentences, this is what happens. It gets grouped into their basic nature. So here it's like evil, good, and here it's like in general it could be like different meanings. So rain, umbrella, water, cloud, dark sky, all of these things can be grouped together into one specific embedding. And then the word shoes or the word guitar will not form under this specific group of words. So I think in a nutshell, that's what embeddings mean. If I confused you, I'm sorry, but I think I've kind of I guess you understood what it means by vectorizing and storing it as an embedding. That's what we're going to do in step 4. Now, how are we going to implement it? So we're not going to do this day wise. We're going to do everything today. So we're going to build a Streamlit app with a record button or an upload button, and connect the Whisper API for text and LLM API for the SOAP node. So the SOAP is basically the structure, subjective, objective, and assessment plan, right? And memory would be your database, the superbase, where you can store all of the records that's been stored and then chat with it. All right, so a simple RAG method, if you will. It also has given me a simple code structure. We're not gonna dig deep into it. So yeah, so this is your pretty much your implementation, right? Now, what we will do is we'll ask for a master prompt. Give me master prompt to use this, to build this using so many uses. Wow. Anti-gravity. All right. So we will paste this master prompt into our anti-gravity and also get the respective, models and everything in place. All right. So I guess this is by installing transformers and then installing this whole pre-trained model to your system, which might kind of create a latency. We'll see if we can, inference it via. Okay, so for this, we would kind of need to get the Hugging Face token, which I think it's fine. For starters, I think it should be fine. All right, I'll show you exactly how we're going to do that. Or you can make use of Olamam if you have it installed and pull this model and host it in your system and call it via API in anti-gravity. So that is also possible. Okay, so this is the whole master prompt. So role, you're a senior AI engineer specializing in healthcare informatics and the anti-gravity agentic framework. Goal is to architect a minimal viable agent for an ambient AI scribe. So there is this objective, the agent definition. It has also given us like the whole toolkit which we were seeing in the previous episode. Sorry, the previous segment. So workflow logic, constraint, and security is also there. The output requirement. Okay. So we're just simply going to copy this and go to anti-gravity, which I've opened over here. So as soon as you open your anti-gravity, it might ask you to log in. So I've already logged in here using my Google, the regular Gmail account. And if you after you've logged in, click on this Open Agent Manager button. Okay, or your Windows C or Command D would open your open agent your agent manager basically. And as you can see here, this if you're new here and if you've not seen my previous anti-gravity tutorials, so this is how anti-gravity looks like. It looks like your Visual Studio Code, where you have all these different files and folders that you can store, and you can even version control and so on. It was built on VS Code, so it looks exactly like VS Code. So what you can do is you can manually create a folder and create files on your own and start coding on your own as well. Or if not, you can make use of this specific agent manager which we've just opened. Let me create a workspace so that nothing else kind of spills into other workspaces. So I'm going to open a new workspace inside this folder. Let me create a new folder. We'll call it ambient scribe for now until we land on a name. So I'm monitoring the chat. If you can think of a name for this specific tool, please let me know. All right. So we've created a new workspace, and here I'm gonna, start a new conversation within this specific workspace. So here I'm gonna choose the planning mode, and you can make use of any model that you want. We also have Claude Opus 4.6, but you would kind of need to add your API in order to use that. Now, let me use Gemini 3 only and paste this specific prompt over here. All right, so I'm just gonna click send. Now, what happens here is this anti-gravity, the whole tool, is an agentic AI coding tool. So you get a lot of, there are multiple agents that are working on the back end, which will essentially plan it out, give you an implementation plan, and once you approve it, will kind of start implementing and building the whole tool for us. So as you can see, we've got the checklist over here. Once again. Sorry about that. I've got a little bit of a dry throat. Anyways, we have this whole checklist and implementation plan. Again, sorry, my throat, something is jammed in my throat. Anyways, we got our the checklist as we saw, and then the implementation plan. So based on our prompt, we've got the whole implementation plan right in front of us. I would urge you to kind of go through each and every one of these, and if you do not want to if you kind of want to change something, not use a specific toolkit, this is your chance to do so. If you want to change something, we could click on this review and then enter your message and click on submit. So what this would do is kind of implement this specific changes and give you a new implementation plan. So for instance, what we plan to use was not this specific large language model. We are trying to use Gemini only. So you can even highlight it and add a comment. Oops. Okay. I kind of missed it. So we are gonna highlight it and comment that use Gemini as LLM. All right. So I'm gonna add this comment over here, and also I don't want to use Superbase, or should I use Superbase? Okay, let's use Superbase only. Um, Pandas for data handling if it's needed. And we decided on using OpenAI Whisper, right? So I'm gonna use it via HF token. Okay, instead of downloading the model, I'm asking the agent to kind of use it using uh, HF token. Okay, and yep, I guess the rest of the things are looking good. So once we submit all the comments, it kind of goes through the implementation plan again. Okay, so what it has done is basically updated the implementation plan with the kind of like the comments that we gave. So we can again open the implementation plan and look at if it has actually made the changes. So, where is it? Okay, actually, I don't see the previously mentioned configuration. Okay, so yeah, it is mentioned Hugging Face Hub, using which it would access the OpenAI Whisper, which was not previously there. Awesome, awesome. So it will also use transformers to use, I think, the Gemini model. Is it going to download it? I don't know. Let's kind of chat again. So use Gemini via API. Prompt mean for no, I don't want to prompt. It's already embedded. So use Gemini as LLM via API. All right. So I'm going to submit it. It is kind of rebuilding the requirements.txt and the task and everything. So it'll give me a new implementation plan soon. Okay, the more agent is kind of thinking and implementing all the different steps outlined in the implementation plan. Okay, let's take a look at the task list in the meantime to kind of understand what tasks we need to do. It will implement tools.py where it will implement the speech to text. The agent.py will have the workflow logic and everything. It has also created requirements.txt. Now it is going to do test runs, I get. Yes. So again, it's thinking. So the one amazing thing with anti-gravity is basically you can start another conversation and another agent would kind of work in parallel when this is kind of implementing it. So if you have a tool with exhaustive list of features to be built, you can actually launch multiple instances of the conversation and build it in parallel. So it gets done faster, and you also identify what are the different um, any clashes between these features when implementing, and it also gets implemented parallelly, so you can test it out and launch out your MVP as soon as possible. So it is just run into an error while running it. So it's like debugging on its own, which is nice. Okay, nice. Some kind of a failure is done. Oh, it is generated a dummy MP3 file and then it's testing it. And awesome. So it is returned with a success, workflow completed successfully. So it is tested itself, using a verify agent and all. And it is giving us a lot of different progress updates as to what all has completed so far. And it's also like giving us an walkthrough. So this is the architecture that it has built, and these are the files it has created. So if you go back to the editor window over here and open this folder we created, you can see all of these different files which were previously not there, but now it's been created by the agent itself. So those are the files it was created, and it also ran a verification script which mocks the external API calls to test the agent's logic flow. And results were insufficient data check. It means confirm that short transcripts terminate early. And it also tested out the full workflow. This confirmed that valid transcripts flow through analysis, critique, and formatting to the complete state. So we have a fully working setup with which was tested using mock data, and now we are supposed to kind of the setup instructions would be to install this specific requirements.txt file. So if you open it, we have all of these different libraries which are needed for us to kind of run this whole model, and also set up environment variables for Gemini API key, the Hugging Face token, and then supervised URL and supervised key. So these are all highly sensitive API keys. So I am gonna set them up very shortly, but not I'll tell you like how you can set them up, but then I'll not be able to show it to you. So if this is our pre-recorded session, I'd have been able to show you. But then since this is a live session, so I'm just gonna get the API, and then maybe once like me getting the API alone, I'll be able to show it to you probably. Let me get that window. Hold on. Okay. So come over here and opening a new browser. So over here, what you would have to do is basically log in or sign up into your Hugging Face account. So once you do, you go over here and you can kind of get your API key from your profile, I guess. No, not from your profile. Oh, it's been a while. So I guess, yeah, this access token. And once you get it, I don't think you will be able to copy it. Yeah, you will not be able to copy it. So I'm going to create a new token. And this is where I'm going to stop sharing. So once I get the token, I'll start sharing again. So what I'm doing is, as you saw on the previous screen, I'm creating a token name, naming it as sample because we're just testing it, and I'm giving it access to a lot of different permissions over there. So you can make calls to inference points, you can access webhooks data, basically everything that's over there, so that it functions without any interruptions. I'm giving it read write access and everything. All right. So and then I'm clicking on create token and copying the token, because then again the token will be lost. So once you copy this token, paste it somewhere where it is safe. So what I'm going to do now is create an environment variable in that folder. So again, don't think that my screen has stopped sharing, but then it is voluntarily I've done that because I'm typing in a lot of API keys. So make sure that your API keys are safer as well, right? So we've got the Hugging Face token, and let me show you how you can get your Gemini API key, and as well as like the other API keys that we were talking about, Superbase URL and so on. So just let me just really share. Edit. All right, I'm just configuring the Gemini, sorry, the anti-gravity thing. So now, since we have our HF token, let me quickly reshare again. So, all right. So what we're going to do now is get our Superbase token. Okay. So you can again create your own account with Superbase, log in with GitHub if you want. I think that's how we created it. Okay, yeah, we do have Superbase account. So here, what we can do is basically get our URL and API key. So I'll stop sharing whenever I hit that sensitive space. Okay, yeah, so I found where you can get your API keys. So I'm just gonna stop sharing for a while. So it's under your settings and you have a section called API keys. So you just copy it. Yes. Okay, there's something wrong because everything is like kind of blurred out. So what is it supposed to mean? Okay, that is for connecting GitHub. So, oh, okay. So my project has been currently paused. So that's why this specific issue. No worries. I've like resumed it and it's all back. So wherever I kind of left you, so go under settings and you can get your API keys. So yeah, project settings. Oh, it's still blurred. Maybe we should kind of upgrade to, for now, let's do one thing. Let's store it locally, all right? Not Superbase, not any DB. Let me quickly get my screen up. So for now, we are gonna not use any, kind of a API key or any kind of an external DB, but instead we're gonna store it locally. But know that this is not the ideal scenario for if you're building your own tool. So let me also paste the Gemini key, API key. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to show you now is how to get your Gemini API key. So you have to go to Google AI Studio and go to this API key section over here, and create new API key. Name your API key like, again, sample or testing or whatever. Let me quickly stop sharing so that you don't get my key. Creating key, and yep, I've got myself a key. Okay. So the thing is, you can kind of create your key in free tier. So just for testing purposes, you are not charged. All right. So I've obtained such a key from the free tier, um, and I'm kind of adding it to my env file. So again, how do I edit it? Okay. So currently my environment file is updated with Hugging Face token and Gemini backends. All right. Let me quickly go back to the walkthrough and share my screen so you get to see what we've implemented so far. All right. So we have this is the AMV file that I was talking about. I'm not going to open it. That's all the sensitive API keys over there. So here, since we decided not to go with Superbase for our database, I'm going to prompt the agent over here to help me set up a local DB. Um, for now, no external DB. All right, so this is a prompt that I'm gonna give to this anti-gravity agent, and it's gonna plan and come up with a plan. Okay, and I just noticed the time. It's like 10 p.m. Okay, so let me quickly go around and check if you have any questions. Okay, what is the minimum feature set as an AI MVP should include? Oh, that's a complicated question. What metrics matter most in the MVP phase? Okay, oh, that's a pretty good question if you ask me. So, what is the minimum feature set an AI MVP should include? So, basically, the question, in order to answer that, it depends on the MVP that you're building. So, if you are kind of launching a product, you will have this basic use cases, the secret sauce that your competitors do not have. Make sure that those features are there in your MVP, because if not, you would be immediately faced with a question that, what's different, right? So what else is new? So you would kind of face that question. So always ensure that you have that secret sauce, that nice to have feature, and also ensure that the already available list of features that you've pitched to every one of your investors or to your customers, that exists. It functions, the primary function properly. So that is, I hope that answers your question. And what metrics matter most in the image phase? Your basic functionality, yes, because if you mention something about your product, and if it does not have this, even the basic functionality of you know doing, for example, this ambient AI scribe tool, if it does not capture the audio well and then give you the actual appropriate transcription, it fails in the process, right? So yeah, basically make sure that your tool kind of works. All right, that's very important for the MVP phase. But then the rest remains how you kind of handle the marketing, how you kind of convince your users to switch to your product if they're already using some other product with a similar use case. So those things we'll see in the next couple of episodes later. But then, yep. So now, as you're seeing, we've scrubbed the Superbase and then implemented a local database. That's good. So I'm going to click on proceed. So the model kind of modifies the code files it has generated. All right. We'll see if we have any other questions. Okay, so it is following the implementation plan. And then it also edited its task list, verifies its database operation. And while this is doing it, I just want to thank everyone who has joined now, because I know India Pakistan match is going on, and despite that, you've kind of you chose to join this particular episode to learn how to build an MVP from scratch. So I truly appreciate that. It truly shows your level of dedication and how you want to kind of learn AI and get ahead in the career. So kudos to that. All right, so now our walkthrough is updated. I guess the system is now ready for local development with persistent data storage. All right, cool. So now, as you can see, we have the database, local database, and a database file created as well. So if you open this, it's kind of empty, it would be, I guess. And also okay, let's open with the text editor. So we'll have this particular format which doesn't make sense. If you think about it, we have the doctor ID, patient ID, and the whole content of the conversation that the doctor patient has, and so on. So right now, what we have done is basically create this whole setup, and we have created all of these different functionalities, and install all the things that we need to install and so on. But we've hit a snag. It's like 4. It's like 10:04 now, and tomorrow is Monday, so I don't want to hold you back from your precious sleep. And so we'll stop right here. So in the next episode, what I'll do is basically kind of take you through the next stages. So since we have not seen the tool yet, we'll have to like further, implement the recording feature where the tool can record on the screen, and further on add a front end to it. I guess it has not added the Streamlit functionality yet. So let's do all of those, and also kind of help you with how you can, get your first users to use this tool. All right. So I think with that, we'll close for today. And again, thank you so much for joining me on a Sunday night, despite having an India Pakistan match that's been going on. Okay, so I'm so grateful that you've joined and asked a lot of amazing questions and stayed throughout to learn how to, ideate and get to this MVP stage. And for that, I'll give you a bonus of how you can ship these models as well. So thanks again. I wish you all a very happy Sunday night, I guess, or Sunday evening if you're joining me from a different time zone. All right. So with that, I think we'll close for today, and I'll see you all. All right. I thought I'll kind of, take a break next week because I'm traveling, but looking at the interest and the audience turn up for this episode, I'll do a part 3 tomorrow night. Okay. So tomorrow, at 7 p.m. or even later at around 8 p.m., I'll go live and I'll continue building this specific tool with you. Okay. We'll start off from wherever we have started. We stopped today. Okay, cool then. Thank you so much. So, if you have been this Phoebe when you joined this episode without even a plan, I hope now you have a plan and know how you can kind of get the idea and start building at least. So we will complete building this and then kind of even ship it. Okay. Cool then. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow with part 3 of the same episode. Right? Ciao.